I did Facebook and Google Plus.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, we are live. I just saw the thing turn to live. How are you today, Miss Sue?
I am good. How are you?
Doing awesome, actually. It's been, besides the huge rainstorm, which I guess was good, maybe it cooled things off, but made it humid today.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful day here. How
Yeah,
about
it's
you?
very humid though. Huey, it really
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Other than that, oh,
I walked the dogs this morning, and I'm glad I don't have fur.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's get right into it because I know we have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Gmail basically today.
Yep.
And I don't know whether you want to share your screen, which is probably easier for you to do. If you want to go ahead and just open up a Gmail and show them where the read receipt. I had a number of agents that I showed that to this week, and I said, well, we can add that to our topics. So in Gmail, when you're sending out an email and you want to make sure someone has received it, of course, you only will get it if they click yes to send the read receipt. If they send no, then you won't get it. So,
Right,
because
right.
there's an option on the receiving end to get one to say yes or no.
So walk me through how you want me to show it. Just tell me what you'd like me to do. You hit compose?
We'll just pretend like you're going to send an email. So go to compose.
Okay.
And then at the very bottom right is that arrow down.
I've got some things turned on here.
Okay.
One second. Let me see if I can blow that up. I still let me move it. No. Oop.
Yeah, like if you're going in there right next to the trash can, is
Oh,
a
there we go.
down arrow, more options.
Next to the trash, right here, you mean?
Mm-hmm. There's more options if you click that.
Yep.
There's a thing, it'll say request a read receipt. Hopefully, if you have it on yours.
I don't have that. Not in.
Oh.
I have check spelling and some other things in there. Default to full screen label.
Okay. All right. Well, on here, there's an option. I will figure out again how we got it there. It's either under your labs or it's probably in your labs part. We'll show them that. So.
Okay, here. Well, we're going there anyway because I know you wanted to show the.
Right.
Let me open that up for you. The canned messages, I think, is the one. This one right here.
Right. So so we'll go back to the request read receipt and show that. But the canned response is something I use quite often. What that means is if you send an email with sometimes the same message, something like if you're sending documents to a buyer or seller and you're sending the same documents all the time, maybe you're just changing the name, you can create what's called a canned response. So that all you have to do is click on canned response and it'll pop up with that message and you just edit it to be more personal, things like that. So that's just something I would point out to the agents that start using that. It saves a lot of time in sending out an email. You don't have to keep typing something over and over again.
Yep.
So that's something we do. A lot of times.
I don't have it currently enabled, but I have used it before and I did like it. So
yeah. So that's something I use on a regular basis, especially like people are emailing about property. I have a canned responses. Thank you for your inquiry. Please call our office to schedule a showing so that they get a response right away. Same thing like if I'm sending out contracts, dear Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, below you will find and then I'll list all the documents that they have because usually you're sending the same thing. The only thing you're going to change is make sure you change their name. So, but anyhow, that's a real quick thing. If anybody has questions on that, they can email myself or you, or go to our Facebook pages, post a question. So those are my 2 hints for the day, and I know you've got a bunch more.
Okay, cool. Well, I have so many things open right now, so hopefully this will all not grind to a halt. But I'm a huge fan of Gmail. I know you are too. I use it. It is my primary email account. I don't use anything else for email per se. Now I do have the paid version, which is Google Apps Gmail account, but they're very similar to Gmail. There's a couple of features extra in it. You get more, a little bit more storage and some other things. But the main things I want to talk about was how do you organize all of your Gmail and using your email account to get more done and save a bunch of time that can be wasted using Gmail. So I wanted to first just kind of show you a couple of, let me see if I can find the, where are you? I'll just go to this tab. I wanted to show you this first because I found this quite fascinating. This is now this is back in July of 2013, but it was the most recent thing I could find. And it shows you the email client market share. And Apple iPhone is #1. Outlook here is #2. But on the new, sorry, this isn't the newest one. The most recent one, Gmail, is now #2. Apple iPhone still #1. Gmail's #2. And Apple iPad 3. And then Outlook is now in #4th position. So Gmail is...
But what's interesting, even on the iPhone, you can use Gmail.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how they quantify that, but anyway, Gmail has moved all the way up in the last 2 years to be the #2 most used email application, at least based on the survey. And so jumping into it a little bit, in fact, here, let me just go back here real quick. One of the first things that I would recommend that you do in Gmail to help organize yourself and save time is to take advantage of these additional tabs that you have in the new version. If you haven't upgraded or allowed it, I highly recommend you do. You can have up to 5 tabs. You can't have any more than that right now. But if you do open all 5 tabs, one will be called primary, one's social, one's promotions, one's updates, and one's forums. And you can access all of that right here in the configure inbox. If I click that, you'll see you can check them on or off right here. And you can also say, you know, if you want to use starring a message as a way to remember something, you can also include that. I have mine checked. I don't use it for that exact purpose, but just to show you.
What happens if you get an email in one of those tabs and you want to move it to a different tab?
Excellent question. And that's what I wanted to show in that, let's say, for example, I'm over here in the forums tab, and this Google alert that I have right here, let's say I always want that to show in my main primary tab. For me, you just right click, you know, on that particular email, and you go to move to tab. And if I click primary, this will pop up. And then if I say yes, from now on, any email that's sent to that particular email address will now start showing over here. You'll see now it's over here, and it'll, from that point forward, it'll always show up in my primary. Now, my recommendation here is initially when you first set it up, I would say if I had to give it a percentage, somewhere between 70 to 80, 85%. Google will try and figure out where all of your emails should go right out the chute when you first make the switch over to this setup in Google or in Gmail, but they're not going to get everything correct. They typically get social bang on, but some things that may show up in promotions, updates, or forums may be things that you really want in primary, and you're going to have some things that might show up in primary that you really want to show up somewhere else. And if you sort these really well and just stay particular to that task over the first couple of weeks, it's not something you have to do every second, but just when you do it, you put your mouse over something, you right click and you say, hey, I don't, for example, want that coming into here, so I'll move it back. Okay. You just start going through that.
Quick question.
Yes.
Before you go on, you mentioned earlier about when we first went on about before this about if you haven't updated. What if somebody has not updated to the new format? How do they do that at this point now in their Gmail account?
They would just come right here into the settings and hit configure inbox.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then moving it around and sorting it, and that way, my recommendation to you is, for me, I put my most important things that I want to make sure I see in my primary tab. Social, I just leave that where it is. I hardly ever look at it because typically if there's something there, I'm catching it somewhere else anyway. Promotions are typically things that are, people trying to sell me something. And if it's stuff I very rarely look here. Updates, rarely look here. And forums is my second main place that I put stuff that I look at, for me anyway. You just decide how you want to do it, and then you just sort things and push them around. So if there was something in here that I didn't want, for example, and look at very often, I would go here and either move it into updates, promotions, or social. When you first set this up, my only reminder to you is I would certainly check, all these other tabs and make sure there isn't something showing here that you want in your primary or in your forums on a more regular basis. Hopefully that'll help everybody. It'll save you a bunch, because basically for me, the one place I look for sure is my primary. If I have some extra time, I will check my forums. These now I've been using for so long, it's rare anything shows up here unless I've just signed up for something. And I almost never even go into these particular tabs. I have so much junk mail that goes into them. I just don't look at it. But it's a great way to kind of sift through all that stuff.
Right, right.
So that's the first thing.
Can you customize any of those tab names if you don't want to call it forums? Can you call it like social media?
I believe you can. Let me just
see. This is called Stump Pierre right now.
Yeah, thanks so much. You know, I want to say that I was able to before, but I might be remembering that wrong, Sue. So I guess I'm gonna have to say, unless I don't believe you can change it in the settings tab.
Well, something to look into, I guess.
Just a second. See, here they are listed here as well, but I don't believe you can change the names. I think at one point you might have been able to, but I don't. You know what? Now that I think of that even more, I don't think you can. But for me, I mean, obviously forums isn't what is really in there. I just know that's where I post most of the content that I want to follow. Like you'll see, I have a lot of Google alerts around particular topics. You know, a lot of real estate, lead gen, things like that. So I have things like that there where, you know, I'm not going to read those, or shouldn't be spending time reading those during the main work hours. But if I do have a break or something, that's where I go to look for that kind of stuff. Or if I'm writing an article on something or doing research on something, that's where I find most of that kind of content. So let's go into some of the plugins that you can use to make Gmail much more productive and can save you some time. One of the newer ones that I'm starting to use on a more regular basis, something called Boomerang, and it's at Boomerang.
Okay, where do we go to get plugins?
Oh, for this one, what I'll do in the write-up after we're all done, Ms. Sue, is I'll actually have links to everything so you can find it.
Oh,
but yeah, it'll just be, I would just recommend you come to this account here and it'll just say add this to your Gmail, and away you go. You know, just kind of right on this button right here. But the Boomerang really does two unique things in my opinion. Number one is you can actually reply to that email, but it maybe not be one that you want to really deal with or send right now. Maybe something you want to send, like let's say for example we're Friday and I want to reply to this, but I don't want it to get all cluttered up in the email that this person might be receiving over the weekend. I can reply to it, put my answer into it, and schedule it so that it doesn't get sent until Monday at, let's say, 8:30 in the morning or something like that. So excellent feature for that. So you can basically deal with all your email if it's handleable right at that moment in time. And if it's not, the other aspect to Boomerang I love is you can boomerang it, meaning you can say, hey, I don't want to deal with this right now, and you can schedule it to leave your inbox for a period of time, and Boomerang will bring it back in the time frame that you asked it to come back. So if I show you that here, if I open up, let me just grab this email here. It's a meeting I got coming up. You see the little Boomerang tab up here? If I click that, I can say return conversation inbox in an hour. If it's something I just want to not look at right this second, but look at later today, I can do tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, in a couple of days. Or I can schedule an exact time and a specific thing, let's say, because I want this to come back in my inbox right before the meeting or something like that. Does that make sense? And I just absolutely love that. But it allows you, if you can picture this, it allows you then to clean out all of the email that's sitting in your main thing, and you're only looking at the ones that you really want to pay attention to or haven't dealt with yet. So love that for that sort of purpose. Does that make pretty good sense?
Very good.
Cool. Next one is it's got some similarities for sure, and I'm showing a couple of things that overlap, as you'll see as we go through these different tools. But this one is quite similar. It has a couple of unique things to it. So let me go back to my email again. And if I, for example, wanted to, let me just open this one, and let's say I wanted to reply to that email. Do you see this, this section down here where it says, it's got this little track this email, schedule a follow-up, send later. So send later is just like doing a Boomerang, or Boomerang's feature of sending it later. Track this email is a feature Boomerang does not have, at least yet. So it means it's kind of like Yesware in that way.
I was just going to say, I use Yesware. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then schedule a follow-up means you can have it where it's going to come back and show up for you. And you can also snooze it, right? So if I go back here just to my main account and I clicked on that same email right here, up here at the top, I can just say snooze for later today, tomorrow, next week, etc. And I can pick a time and that thing will disappear. Let me just do it because this has already been done. Let's say I did it and I said I want to deal with this in 3 days. Watch what happens on the screen when I hit that. You see it disappears? And in 3 days, it'll pop right back into this section of my email. And again, nice way to deal with things that you need to look at a later time, or you just don't want, you don't want to deal with it. Or if you want to delete it, of course, delete it. Right. So that's something called FollowUp.cc. I'm really liking it. I particularly like the fact that you can.
Is there a cost to that?
There is. I closed that thing. I can't remember the price. Okay. I want to say the $12 a month, I think, is where the main one starts. And for probably most people, that'll probably do it. But the nice thing I like about this one is it covers a lot of the various features. There is a free trial, and I forget how long it exactly is.
So say on most of these plugins, I know like Yesware, I can stop at any time. It is a monthly fee. So can you stop these, or is once you're committed, you're committed?
I believe there might be an exception as we go through these, but this one I believe is a month. You can pay annually or you can pay monthly. I would do the trial and make sure you like it and see the benefits to yourself. I've been playing with this one for probably a couple of weeks now, and I really like it. It combines a couple things that I was using several tools to do with before, and I think it'll actually not only save me some time because I can do it all in one tool, but I think you have to try these to kind of make your own decision as to what you like best. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we are at 20, almost 20 after. So you got time for one more?
Sure. I know I've got all these ones here.
We can add them to next week.
We may have to do another one on this, but here's Yesware.
We'll do it next week, because next week we're going to talk about Google Alerts, so that'll fall right into still stuff we're doing. So
cool. So this one is Yesware, which I know you enjoy using. I've used as well, and yeah, it does some really cool things. And I was actually a little surprised. I haven't used it as my main thing for a little bit now, but they have some additional things that you can do in here that weren't available when I was seriously using it. So I may have to take another look at it, but I definitely think it's something that is a contender for any particular person. You just have to look at what it can do, try it out, and see if it can do what you're hoping it can do.
I love the fact that, number one, Yesware tells you when it's been open, but it tells you every time it's been open. So if somebody goes back and looks at it again, they'll tell you how long it was open for. So it's a good track. So it's great for people, for me, when I'm tracking to see, make sure they opened it, and they say, well, no, I never got it. Well, I know, not that I'm going to tell them, I'll say, well, okay, I'll send it again, but I know they've read it.
Yeah. In fact, sorry, I'm so happy you said that, because it reminded me of one of the reasons I'm sort of really starting to really like FollowUp.cc is it has that same thing, because it's tracking the email. It'll start telling you when that person opened it, and if you click the more box, it'll tell you even more about it, like how. One of your recipients in Gmail, one of your recipients in Gmail, one of your recipients in Saskatoon, California, and so forth. And it'll tell you the kind of the history of that particular email. So it's kind of cool to see that. So what I'm going to do super quick, Miss Sue, just so we kind of give a teaser for part of what we're going to cover next week. I'm just going to quickly open some of these so that people at least maybe they can even start looking at them themselves. Another one is called Banana Tag. Similar features to Yesware and FollowUp. Take a look at that. It's an email tracking and scheduling for your Gmail. Something called Tout App.
What is it called?
Tout App.
Oh, Tout App. Okay, I haven't heard of that one, I don't think.
And we'll cover that in a little more detail. Streak is a CRM right inside Gmail. Full transparency.
That would be awesome.
Full transparency. I'm pumped about this. I got referred to this by several other people that I work with and know, and I have not used it yet, but I want to use it. The feedback I've gotten is incredible. I just haven't had a chance to test it yet, but I believe this could be one of my favorites coming up really shortly. This is another CRM type tool, work, etc. That's gotten some excellent reviews. CRM for Gmail, another one that's gotten a bunch of excellent reviews. I currently use Insightly. I'm a big fan of it. I really do like it a lot. We've talked about Reportive before. Great tool for kind of knowing a little bit about that particular email and that person before you start responding. Here's a new one that's kind of come into play. It's called Full Contact. Similar to Reportive, pulls up social and contact informations, both socially, etc. on the contact. I'm really starting to like that. I've just been recently testing it. Unroll Me. If you've registered, like a lot of people have, to a lot of different
I've heard of that one.
lists,
I've heard great things about that.
yeah, it's awesome. Totally.
It's easy. You just put in your email and it'll unroll you in some things.
Absolutely. It's very cool.
Yeah. Cool.
And you can see this little thing's popping up telling me somebody's looking at that thing. Obviously, that email, there's an onboarding process that we're going through with one of my clients, and I guess they're sharing it with a bazillion people, because you can see in that follow-up thing when I opened it how many people are looking at that right now. I guess they're very interested in getting our business. But anyway, this is another one called Assistant.2, and it does some really cool things with scheduling smarter and stuff like that. Here's another one I'm really excited about, Active Inbox. It allows you to take your email and schedule things right from it, like to-dos and tasks and projects. Checking email every 5 minutes. You can stop doing this. This thing will actually allow you to filter your email to give you a reminder. So if let's say you're out and about, but the only thing you want to be bugged about is these 3 particular people. If their email comes in, you want to know about it, well, you can make it arrive, only that email arrive in your phone with a reminder.
Oh, that's great.
And then you're not sitting there stressing over anything else, at least during that period of time. In Google settings, one of the things I did want to show here real quick, since this is so simple, is there are, in the Generals tab under your settings, you can show send an archive button in reply. I like that, so that you can send it, and if you don't need to look at that anymore once you sent it, it'll archive it. It'll just take it right out of your inbox for you right away. That's kind of an easy version of kind of that snooze button, but this, if you know you're not going to look at it again unless they reply, that's a great tool. This one I haven't dug into deeply, but it was so highly recommended. I'm sharing it with everybody. It's called refapp.co, and it suggests things from LinkedIn, Salesforce, and Facebook while you're composing emails. Mixmax, another one of those examples. This thing it had so many people were recommending it. I have not looked at it, but I'm going to, seriously. And SaneBox, let's see, they're back up. They were doing some updating. This is another way to help clear out the clutter in your inbox, and I've heard great things about it. Crystal is super cool. They say it's the biggest improvement to email since spell check, and it actually helps you with communicating with your coworkers and prospects and stuff. And it actually learns the language that particular person enjoys being spoken to in, or written to in, I guess more accurately. Wow. And it's pretty cool. So, and then the final one, which is less a plugin, but I know realtors do a lot of signatures and stuff like that. And this is called HelloSign.com, and it's an email signature, digital signature program that runs inside of Gmail.
I've heard about that. I haven't looked into it. What's the name of that?
It's called HelloSign.com. So I'll stop right there, because obviously we're over time a little bit, but these are some more things that we should cover next time, and it might even take 2 more of these to get through.
I'm thinking 2 more will break it up, because it sounds like a lot. So
absolutely. So that's awesome. It for me, Miss Sue. Anything you want to, I guess, say or do in the wrap up?
No, again, lots of information. Just urging everyone on listening to us or watching this afterwards that if you have any questions, you can go to our Facebook page. Yours is what is your Facebook page? Facebook.com/mybusinessbuzz. Right. Okay. And mine is same thing, just Sue Lucas. So you can find us on Facebook, post any questions. Might want to post the link in the chat box. I might do that right now just to get that in there.
Cool.
And if you have any questions.
Yeah, and I'll quickly show for those that want to see this recording and find previous recordings. Let me show you real quick here. Let me screen share here real fast. If you go to mbuzz.com, I've created a page there. If you come right here and you go to the QFF tab right up here at the top, you will see our page where you can register for the upcoming webinar. And then down below here, we've put in each one of the past webinars up to last week's, and then of course this one we will put in here, and with the video and the recording, etc. So you can come here and watch all of the previous recordings, and we try to put in you know, kind of description of different things that we covered and links to things if we discussed links and stuff like that throughout the thing. Like for example, to connect to Sue's stuff, there's links down here to her business page and her personal Facebook connection. Here's some of mine here. Sue, if you want anything else listed here, just let me know. I'll certainly add it in. So
no, that's fine. It looks good. So I just put in the chat or my Facebook, and I put in the MB Buzz page. That's the best one to go to. But if you have questions, again, email us, talk to us, and we are out of time. We are past almost 12:30 now. So
we did a long one.
We did. That's okay. So that was a little bit longer than the Quick Fire Friday, but we'll get it down. Anyhow, wishing you, Pierre, a great weekend, and I hope to talk to you during the week.
Sounds great, Miss Sue. Have a great weekend, everyone. Live, thank you, and everyone watching the recording. We appreciate it. Let us know if you have any topics you want us to cover. All right. Bye now.
Ciao. Bye.